Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, May 26th. Wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, we appreciate the hell out of you for joining us today. Speaking of joining us today, Damien Priest, NXT superstar, joins us in the first hour. Yeah! Damien! He's rock star. He challenged friend of ours. No longer friend of ours, by the way, turned into a terrible human being. Mm-hmm. Despicable, ruthless, savage individual. Former friend of ours, RV passenger at one point. Yes, the same RV that Zito drove into MetLife Stadium and then backed out of, backed out of MetLife Stadium. Finn Balor was on that was a passenger on that RV. Oh, yeah. Damien Priest, Finn Balor, potential beef. Damien Priest called out Finn Balor for NXT TakeOver in your house Sunday, June 7th. Finn Balor hasn't answered yet.
Huh. Wow.
We'll talk to Damien Priest about all that. And do we have inside information?
No.
Do we potentially have a little inside information? Maybe. Also, Michael Lombardi joins us in the second hour to talk about how he hates the 4th and 15 concept, would like to keep it in the kicking game for onside kick, and you can count all of us in this room on the same page as Michael Lombardi. We'll also talk to him about the football. And speaking of football, ESPN put out a football power index, which is an index which accounts for strength of schedule, your offense's expectations, defensive expectations, special teams expectation, and then they do an entire simulation of everybody's season on who will win and who won't win. And there's some questionable decisions by the FPI that we will judge the hell out of. That's coming in about a minute and a half as soon as Zito's done with the graphic that he started putting together about 15 minutes ago. Put a lot of heat on our Cuban friend Zito, but he's been making magic happen. At Nick Moroto's here. Hockey seems to be almost back. They're doing a lot of talking, doing a lot of describing, but it feels like there's not a lot of walking in action happening on the backside. Am I wrong in thinking that?
No, you're not wrong. Still a lot of talking about coming back. The Phase 2 protocols got released yesterday to have guys come back and do informal skates, open up the facilities to the players. Still no coaches allowed. They can just sit in the stands and watch. They can't actually interact with the players. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things floating out there like, hey, here's an idea, 2014 COVID Cup tournament. Here we go. This is what's going to happen. And everybody's like, oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, that sounds really cool. I don't even like hockey, but I could watch that. And then you're hearing about them voting. It's like, are they voting on this 2014 Cup? Here we go. And they're like, no, they're voting on to potentially talk about the 2014 Cup. And then it's like, okay, are they voting? Are we making any more progress on it? It's like, nope, but we have made progress. They're allowed to go into a frozen pond and skate if they would like to with other people on the same pond.
Only 6 guys.
Only six guys in the pond. Can't have a spotter whenever you're lifting rocks off the side of the pond and all that stuff. They're not even talking about the tournament yet. They're not even voting about the tournament while everybody else is floating out these ideas. Maybe, and I don't know enough about the Europeans or the Russians or the Canadians, maybe this is their way, though. Maybe this is their style. Let's get this idea out here, see how everybody feels about it, and then let's try to make this happen one step at a time. I kind of like the move. I just would wish that they would get to the action a little bit quicker. I want to know if that 24-team tournament is happening. I want to know if the COVID Cup is going to be electric. I want to know if the Penguins are going to win another Stanley Cup because they're hockey times.
Good pants.
At Tone Diggs is here. Tone Diggs, how do you feel about this FBI ranking that we're about to probably demolish here in about a minute and a half?
There's some teams I like, some I don't. I mean, no one's ever going to be perfect. It kind of stinks. You never know, though.
But you're a guy who gets excited about these types of things.
Well, I just get excited of the thought of football being played. And this is just another thing towards me thinking football being played.
You know, Coach Doug's has been a home run for Big Cat. Awesome to watch. He's now currently coaching at Tennessee. Been a lot of fun to watch. The Checkdown has done Madden simulation. Not a home run.
I did not enjoy those.
Did not, and I don't think anybody has, by the way. They gave it a shot. They gave it a go. The Houston Texans just clinched last night. Nobody knows, but this happened on the Checkdown. Now, the FBI, though, is basically a simulation, is it not? These computers, and they're running our simulation and everything like that?
Yeah, but it ain't a video game. This is actually like Watson doing work. Like Watson's getting in there and studying all the everything and getting in there.
And Watson is a computer.
Yes. Like the
this
smartest
is an algorithm?
computer.
This is an algorithm?
In my understanding, yes.
Speaking of algorithms, Billy Tube said that we were potentially shadow banned from YouTube yesterday.
Not again.
We are not. I mean, it's up on my front page. So
Okay, well, we appreciate everybody that's watching at YouTube, because if you subscribe to this channel, you're helping a small business continue to grow. A small business that might be filled with idiots. Yes, we might be the dumbest collection of individuals who are running a business and operating a business and on the internet. But when you hit that subscribe button and you hit a little likey like on the video, you're helping dreams come true.
Yeah. Yeah.
At Ty Schmitz here, the FBI is not going to make his dreams come true. Packers are very low on this list, pal.
Yeah, I assumed it was just a Madden simulation, though. I mean, these guys don't know. They have no idea. How do you...
Pretty sexist to automatically assume that.
kind of.
No, guys
Ty.
is gender neutral.
Okay.
Guys
All right.
and gals.
You're talking about yins guys.
Exactly.
All
Thank
right,
you.
got it. Yous guys.
How do you put like a number or percentage on how pissed off Rodgers is going to be going into this year and just
Bingo.
light the NFL on fire?
Can't measure spite. I've been saying it this whole time. You cannot measure spite. I used it in my field a lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't invited to the combine. Other people were. Okay. I'm hoping privately for their failures, my success. Spite is driving me to work harder to prove everything wrong. Michael Jordan lived off of spite. Absolutely. Lance Armstrong's going to come out, I assume. Love the old spite. That's just the type of thing. You can't measure that with Watson or Mrs. Watson. That's just something that you can't get done. And that's, you're 100% right, but that's why we'll shred these things here in a little bit. I do believe their Super Bowl champion makes a lot of sense that they're projecting. At Jason McAfee, 412-178-66645 is here. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. At Viva Lazito is looking amazing. He, by the way, was put in the pressure cooker here. We just found out about these FBIs maybe 37 minutes ago. And every time this type of thing happens, especially in the middle of a pandemic and a quarantine where there's no live sports, it's like, yep, we have to judge the people that are judging people. We got to get a graphic together. Zito's like, I'm on it. First graphic wasn't legible.
Yeah, a lot of misspelled words.
Actually couldn't read it. It was too small. He was trying his best, so we made it more simple, and he's been trying to put that together for 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to pay off, but that's why this is a Zito production. Right before we go on the air, I look at Zito. I go, hey, you good? And he looks back at me. He looks up from his computer. He looks at me while I'm doing that, and he just goes sideways thumb and then goes right back into his computer. It was amazing. At Evan Fox, he's here. Heard he stinks at golf now. That's a shame.
Oh, my. Wow.
That's just fake news, Pat. I figured it out. First 5 holes, I did stink at golf. Last 4 holes, finished strong. That's
You guys
all
won
matters.
golf yesterday. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got out there on a course. I don't know how you guys got a foursome on Memorial Day when you were, I think you scheduled that at like 1 o'clock or something.
We were actually like the only ones out there. All of us had our own car. It was beautiful. Felt
so
good
it's
to
like
be
a
back out there.
perfect day on
Own
your
car is
course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Own card is what I always do. I'll pay for 2 if I have to. Because, hey, man, I want to be able to go talk to my friends. Maybe they're not in my card. I like
Yeah.
to, and then I like to go get to my ball. It's probably who knows where. I would like to be a part of the group. And if I could potentially ruin somebody's entire round, I'd like my own cart. And also, I mean, I like to leg up sometimes. And then I'll drive from the other side, too, just with the left foot.
yeah.
Because
More
maybe,
space.
more space. A lot of trees I'm operating around. You can do that. The single cart thing is something that could potentially come out of this quarantine that makes everybody a lot happier on the golf course.
Yeah, it was a lot better because Connor would have been my partner, so I didn't have to chase his balls around all day. It was awesome.
And speaking of that man, at Boston Connors, currently on the phones, 1-833-622-3331, Boston Connor.
I don't know what Foxy just said about the golf skills, but I'll tell you what. I was out there yesterday. I think I hit 37, Foxy? What was that the course number?
Everybody
Plus
told
50.
me that you had a 55 yesterday.
No, it was not a 55. It was like a 53, okay? And they counted a couple extra strokes. Diggs gave me a 7 on, I think, hole 8. I had like a par.
Who's on the other line there?
Hey, what's your name? Jacob from North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
He seems like a good guy. He's just been talking to me, and I haven't been listening, so I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say.
So when people call in, do you just have a full chat with them, and then you're like, all right, well, you're going to wait on hold probably for like the next hour and a half because we don't get on the phone all the time. Is that how it goes?
Well, sometimes I got to tell them that their take is dog piss, just like you guys tell me all the time. And, if that happens, then, me and the guy might work it together, or I'll tell him call back.
He said that Trevor Lawrence, okay, this is the dog piss take that he is referring to right here. Oh, look, it's on his dry erase board. Trevor Lawrence comes back for his senior season. Me. Support the troops.
Support the troops. Support the troops.
Whose quote is that?
That's me.
That's me.
That's me.
That's you. All right. Good luck with your conversation with Jacob. He said that if college football season gets canceled next year, which I don't think is going to happen. I feel like nobody really is expecting that. The fans, the Stephen Ross, Miami Dolphins owner guy. Owner guy. Yeah. He was on CNBC and he said it's not about having a season or not. It's about whether or not fans will be in there. And I think that is not just his sentiments, but I think it's everybody's. The New York governor opened up professional sports to get back in their stadium. So let's assume that the NFL is going to go off. And if the NFL goes off, I don't know how college football looks at it and it's like, well, they can do it. Why can't we? I would assume college football is also going to do it. And Connor said that if college football is canceled for a season, that Trevor Lawrence, since he loves Clemson so much, will come back for another year after that when he would be eligible to be the number 1 overall pick, which he would have been the number 1 overall pick last year, and even the year before that would have been the number 1 overall pick. Connor is dead set on the fact that Trevor Lawrence will come back after a canceled season, and we all called him an idiot, and he's still staying by it. And by the way, we could be wrong. He could be right. We're not 100% sure. Nobody knows.
I think we are 100%.
All right.
Nobody knows.
Speaking of 100% right, the FBI for the full 2020 season rankings, we feel like are potentially completely inept whenever you look past the top 4. Yeah, that's the top 4. Okay, so here it is. The FBI is the Football Power Index. Diggs, it is a collection of algorithms and BS, right?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of algorithms that factor into account your rosters, prior performance, I would assume what they predict future performance, your rosters. They said the Colts had the easiest roster, the Broncos had the hardest roster, and then they go through the entire season. This was their top 16 or 10?
10, and then with 32 to end it off.
You did number 32. So here's the top 10 on your screen right here. Kansas City Chiefs obviously makes sense. Returning Super Bowl champs, and they only got better. They bring in Justin Jefferson from LSU. Andy Reid is going to have a chance to continue to dominate. Makes a lot of sense. I like it. The Baltimore Ravens at number 2. This is all relying on the fact that people think Lamar Jackson will be able to be Lamar Jackson again. You've talked to everybody in the Baltimore Ravens organization and their fan base. They say, hey, you can figure out our scheme. A lot of college football is using our scheme. A lot of teams are going to try to use our scheme. And maybe you figure out how to have the perfect defense on the field. But what happens when Lamar...
Whoa, got him. He's gone.
What happens when Lamar Jackson makes a professional athlete look like Connor Campbell?
What?
Nobody can account for you. Yeah, you.
No.
Yeah, you.
No, not me.
Yeah, you.
No.
Yeah, you.
No, I tackle.
No,
Yeah?
you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah?
Well, anyways.
In my prime.
No, because in football players' primes, they are looking like children compared to Lamar Jackson shaking them on a field. I did not think it was possible. When you see him at Louisville do it, you get to the NFL, his first year, they didn't have the offense set up for him. The offense was set up for Flacco. They go all in with Lamar Jackson. And I didn't think it was possible to do what he has done to other professional athletes. Yeah, Vic was next level. Vic was unbelievable. But Lamar Jackson has taken it to a whole nother level. If he is still unstoppable, makes sense that the Ravens are at number 2. Number 3, 2 AFC teams, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
AFC's a tough place to be, especially if you lose your quarterback in 20 years. That's why.
Oh, no.
Number 3, San Francisco 49ers get everybody back. I like it. They also added an offensive tackle immediately after Staley's retirement. I feel like the San Francisco 49ers are going to be good. Saints at 4. Okay, Drew Brees is back. Sean Payton's back. They said they're not doing any of the Zoom meetings. Just show up at training camp. Please be in shape, and we'll deal with this later. Number 5, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is where the question marks start popping off. Dallas Cowboys don't even have a quarterback. So they're saying Andy Dalton? They're saying Andy Dalton is leading the Cowboys to, what was their record they had them at? 9-3. Nope. 9.3.
9.3.
Yeah, projected wins 9.3.
So Andy Dalton, is this Andy Dalton a quarterback or Dak Prescott a quarterback? And this is automatically assuming that Mike McCarthy wins over the locker room as soon as possible. Is that what everything's doing? Dallas Cowboys at 5, I think, was our first question mark. Now, the NFC East is not the most difficult place to play football. The Philadelphia Eagles, who are at 6 right behind the Cowboys, that team, very good last year, and they were very injured. If they get healthy, I feel like that's the Eagles' division to win, and they got 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just like the Packers, they got 2 quarterbacks.
Big. Need it.
Pay a quarterback $100 million, bring in another quarterback. This might be the model of the future. Are the Philadelphia Eagles a quarterback factory? Philadelphia nowhere near spelled accurately, but the Eagles The Eagles are at number 6. Seattle Seahawks at 7. No, you had to rush through this. I'm not 100% sure you would have got it right if you had all the time in the world, but Philadelphia's a tough one. Hey,
Just missing a P.
Philadelphia is a tough one.
That's a typo. You just fat fingered it.
Yeah, you just missed a P.
No big deal.
fingers.
Zito put this together in like 4 minutes. Zito's did great work. 7 Seattle Seahawks. They get Antonio Brown. How much do they jump? Do they jump at all? That is a team that could potentially do it. They loaded up on the defensive side, brought Bruce Irvin back. They lose Clowney, or maybe they don't. Maybe they get Clowney back. He's still a free agent. Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to number 8. There's no way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Jameis Winston at quarterback would be anywhere near this. That's the Tom Brady factor. You bring in Gronkowski, the BA offense. They're working out of prep schools. Gronk cut a promo on Raw last night. Interesting. I like Gronk. I think he's going to be unstoppable down there. That is a tough division down there in the NFC South, though. Number 9, the New England Patriots. They don't have a quarterback either. So the Cowboys, we don't know who's playing quarterback, and the Patriots, we don't know who's playing quarterback. The FBI's got them, 2 of them in the top 10 teams that don't have a quarterback at the moment. By the way, the only 2 teams, I think, in the entire NFL who aren't sure who their quarterback's going to be is at number 5 and number 9. Granted, will Tua start over Fitz? That's a question mark, but they know here, Dallas and New England, nobody even knows if the starting quarterback for the Patriots is even on the roster at this point.
He is. He is. Stidham's on the roster. And don't forget, we still have Bill Belichick.
That's the only reason why they're at number 9 is I don't know how the Watson and Mrs. Watson affect for Bill Belichick and that. Who's the old guy up top?
Ernie.
I guess that is one thing that they pump into Watson. They're like, also, yeah, we won't account for Aaron Rodgers' spite, but we must account for Belichick and Ernie, the guy who knows everything. And the FBI's like, whoop, 9. We don't even need a quarterback. Number 10, Buffalo Bills. Congrats to Bills Mafia, cracking the top 10 for the first time in a long time, I'd assume. And the Patriots, it seems as if that AFC East is open for the first time in a long time. God bless your soul, Nick. In the Buffalo Bills, everybody's thinking is the team that makes a big jump. And at dead last, a team that is potentially tanking in everybody's eyes. Jacksonville Jaguars and Gardner Minshew. Other notable teams. Congrats, by the way, to Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars on accomplishing number 32 in the FBI thing. Other notable teams, Indianapolis Colts are at 14, right ahead of the Green Bay Packers, who are at number 15. The Green Bay Packers last year in the NFC Championship game, now a computer or multiple computers of both male and female sex say that the Packers, middle of the road team, pal. Jordan Love can't play D tackle. They are all the way in the middle of the road. How do you feel about that?
Not great, but who cares? This doesn't matter. They're going to win the division.
This doesn't matter at all, which is why we judge it, but people love it.
How about the Rams being 11? I feel like
The Rams are at 11. They no longer have Todd Gurley. They've had to do it. They had the first ever case of coronavirus in the NFL, Jay Glazer told us. But they had quite a fall from grace last year.
Lost Brandon Cooks, too.
Quite a fall from grace. It seemed as if in the Patriots Super Bowl, Sean McVay got outcoached in there, right? Bill Belichick changed his defense 4 times in that game, probably. McVay had no idea what was going on. He kind of got outclassed there after running through everybody. Last year, they did not have as much success. Is there any mo coming back to Sean McVay? They think yes, put him in number 11. Steelers almost made the playoffs last year with no quarterbacks. They're at number 12, very interesting. Titans are at 16. The Brownies are at 19. Chicago Bears, still, they don't have a quarterback either. Nobody knows. 21. 21. Big Richard, Nick Foles, is going to come in there and potentially win that thing. Detroit Lions are at 28. The Panthers are at 29. Yikes. Bengals at 30. And then the Jaguars at 32. So, what do we think of this? Doesn't mean a damn thing. Nothing matters. But I feel like they got some things very wrong there. I don't know how you put the Cowboys at 5, but it feels like the Cowboys, just like Notre Dame, are always ranked very high going in early because they're going to be on national TV every week. So if you have them on national TV every week, you need them not to be number 32. But who knows how the Cowboys are going to be? Maybe they'll be great, just like maybe Notre Dame will be great. We never have any clue. And then middle of the season, it's always like, it seems like the same old song and dance here, pal.
If Seattle gets Antonio Brown, do you think they become a top 5, top 3 team in the NFL?
I think so. I think Antonio Brown, not only because if they judge special teams as well, you put Antonio Brown at returner back there. I know they got Lockett or whatever who probably do kickoff returns, but you put Antonio Brown back there at punt returner, that's probably a couple more touchdowns a year, just to be honest.
Better than the boys, at least.
I don't know. I think a lot of teams on there are better than boys. Boys don't even have a quarterback, but we can't discount Mike McCarthy is down there. But their practice field has 1,000 employees. Everybody knows what they're doing. Cowboys got no chance until people can not have the ability to watch their entire practice. That's what I think is the big.
If Dak signs, are you okay with them at 5?
Yeah, I think no, not at 5.
No.
I think maybe a top 10 ranking. I think is okay. 5 is very. I mean, this is incredibly high. This is you got them above the Green Bay Packers are in the NFC Championship last year. Now, granted, people are saying Gunther kind of wasted everything that they had to make their team better, but I think Cowboys at 5 is strictly because Jerry Jones potentially owns the computers that are doing the FBI. There we go.
And you
Figured out.
you
It's on
talked
the
about
yacht.
Dallas and who was the other team? The Patriots. For you don't know who's going to be quarterback, but Packers. Do you know who's going to be the starting quarterback?
True.
Well,
Great
yeah,
question.
yeah.
No. Great question. Like competition at every single position, even if you got one of the greatest to ever walk this earth. Let's go ahead and throw that away. Let's build for the future. 20 minutes after the hour. Got to get to a break for the radio. We will do YouTube questions during the break. Then Damien Priest, WWE NXT superstar, joins us in 20 minutes. That should be a good conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty excited about it because our piece of information I think is going to potentially be a little bit of curveball. Damien Priest, he's going to
Whoa.
Whoa!
Swing miss.
see that.
Yeah.
I took that thing 12-6 on him.
Oh yeah.
Baseball seems to be coming back. By the way, seems like there's real optimism for baseball.
Big week.
Chipper Jones not happy with the players. Shut your mouth. Back after this. This is Pat McAfee Show. Ladies and gentlemen, every once in a while after I relieve my bladder during commercial breaks, we like to dive deep into the most beautiful part of the internet, the YouTube comments section, for some YouTube questions!
YouTube questions.
What do we got, Zito?
Come from Tennessee, Mike. If you could start a team with any current quarterback, running back, wide receiver, age taken into account but not contracts, what would they be? It's very compact, so I apologize.
I mean, Jesus Christ, Zito.
Select
Wait,
a
build
53-man
fantasy
roster.
football roster at
There's
this
only three positions.
What quarterback would I take at this point if I had a quarterback to take?
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Bingo. Aaron Rodgers is the answer.
Really? Not Mahomes.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the answer. Ah!
Not Lamar.
Patrick Mahomes will never come on the show. Aaron Rodgers definitely does come on the show. I'm a loyal guy. Aaron Rodgers is the guy I'm taking. How long we're just trying to win one right now anyways, aren't we? I'm trying to ride off in the sunset, maybe win the next 4 until he's 40. I'm going to retire at that point with 4 Super Bowls. I'm all of a sudden, here we go. I'm starting around Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Love that.
Okay? Then the running back I'm taking, great question.
Come on.
I'm going with Aaron fucking Jones.
Tell me you want
McCaffrey.
punches.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
He has to be the guy.
Kamara.
Or Saquon.
Saquon.
Alvin Kamara didn't get the ball as much last year.
He was hurt.
Still
too.
had 81 catches.
Yeah, he's banged up a little bit.
Yeah, but it felt like Alvin Kamara, his rookie year came out of nowhere. It
Yeah.
was awesome. And then Michael Thomas almost got like that the focus almost of the offense. If Alvin Kamara, maybe Sean Payton, by the way, will flip the script and go back to Alvin Kamara. I think you have to do. I don't know. I think you have to do Christian McCaffrey just because of what he did last year. I mean, he was unbelievable last year as a football player. Saquon Barkley has such a big upside, though. Like, if he gets going, they're calling him like the next Walter Payton and calling him sweetness out
I think
there.
he'd keep his head on straight in the offseason.
What are you saying?
Well, maybe reassess who's in your circle and move from there.
And then wide receiver, Michael Thomas is the answer. That's the guy you're going with.
Julio?
No, I'm going with Michael Thomas.
You gotta deal with his personality and stuff.
Who?
What?
Whose personality?
Michael Thomas.
You don't fucking like Michael Thomas's personality? Why? Is it because he got crosses on his face? You don't like Jesus?
geez.
Oh, my gosh.
It's because his voice is a little high, Tony?
Wow.
Is that why?
Anthony Gillio hates Jesus Christ.
Oh, jeez.
25 minutes after the hour, we're back in 10 seconds. Jesus Christ.
Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, and you already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands you know.
That makes no sense, by the way.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
So is everybody else just ripping you off?
I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Does sound like
But
it.
Raycon and their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet. With 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, they're perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's nice.
You want to binge some podcasts?
Binge a
out
couple podcasts.
there. Yeah, you could binge some podcasts.
Binge a few podcasts.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to binge some podcasts.
Binge a couple podcasts.
Yeah, hey.
Binge.
And
Binge.
Binge it up.
And unlike
Binge
some of your
it.
other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems.
Really?
You've heard us talk about how the company was co-founded by Ray J and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, Melissa Etheridge, Brandy, and J.R. Smith.
Swish.
And that they're all obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Pat. That's buyraycon.com/Pat for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds.
Great question in the YouTube comment section. Does anybody on this show actually own the Raycons?
Yeah,
I
Pat
do.
uses them all the time.
I do. I use them all the time during a workout because they fit my ears perfectly and it drowns out all the sound of the world. So it's a nice noise isolating fit. Factual statement. And it's got the boom booms in
Yeah,
there.
more bass.
I like the boom boom. You know what I mean? I like to hear a little boom boom. Boom boom. Boom boom. Boom boom. I like a little boom booms. We can't do it here because we have to be plugged into the thing that's connected to the thing that's connected to the thing.
Mainframe, yeah.
Exactly.
The technology hasn't been able to keep up for us to enjoy our Raycons while on air, but as soon as it does, guess what we're doing? Putting them sons of bitches right in. Every once in a while, since we're a live show, we visit with our friend Frank, who tells us things that are happening. Ladies and gentlemen, things that are happening that we should talk about because we are a live show with our Italian friend and hockey fan and stooge, Nick.
Things that are happening that we should talk about because we're a live show with our Italian friend and hockey fan and stooge, Frank. Brought to you by Manscaped.
Hey, we said that was going to be a tough title to sell. And it got sold.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code AMERICA.
Hey, you got it. Let's do it.
America!
Country singer Morgan Wallen issued an apology on Twitter after he was arrested on Saturday and charged with public intox and disorderly conduct.
Yeah, I guess he got into a fight outside of Kid Rock's pub or honky tonk.
Yeah, it's a bar in downtown Nashville.
Yeah, so he gets in a fight. By the way, Morgan, plenty of good men and women have had this day come. Every once in a while, that whiskey will turn on you. You start getting angry whenever you're drunk. Fights start happening. Just got to take a break for a while and inhale all the vitamins you could possibly inhale. Every once in a while, the alcohol will turn on you. You know, like, for instance, our intern, Mitt, who's not here right now, he's probably sleeping still from the weekend.
Yeah.
He's riding high right now still. He's having the time of his life. Morgan's out there down at Kid Rock's thing, a little bit intoxicated. Somebody probably says something. What time is it? Time to smack you in the mouth. He gets arrested in jail. Can't do it. Can't do it. Sometimes, well, I guess you can. I mean, it doesn't really.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be fine.
I mean, you do whatever you sing a song about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Morgan, you do whatever you got to do, actually, now that I just reconsidered.
Probably tough when you've been listening to Ba with a Ba all night, too.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, it's time.
Ball with the ball, by the way. Are you kidding me?
It's gonna be 2 hits. Yeah. Me hitting you
And you
Kid Rock's
hitting the floor.
and Kid Rock's ball with the ball playing in the background.
Oh, I thought you were going to say him hitting the floor.
No, you get it.
Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, 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 said the boogie, said up, jump the boogie. My name is Kid. I told this story before. It's still a great story. Kid Rock concert, Indianapolis, Indiana, noise violation. $100,000 fine. You go past 11 p.m. 10:59 and 30 seconds. Kid Rock starts a monologue. They told me that if I go past 11, they're going to fine me $100,000 or something like that. Then as the clock strikes 11, they had it up on the board. He goes, I told him, my name is Kid. And then he goes straight in the ball with the ball to bang.
That's incredible.
Until 11:03.
That's a move.
Concert's over.
That's incredible.
That is amazing. That is just taking it out and pissing on money. And now Morgan Whalen's getting hammered drunk and fighting people in his bar. Makes sense. It would be tough, by the way, to turn it off when ball with the ball hits.
Yeah.
Not the first person to fight someone after listening
Ball
to
with the
K-Rock
ball.
on it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of those. I'd imagine that they have one of those little punching bag things in there, too. Imagine ball with the ball with that thing. You might as well just build an octagon in there. You might as well go straight from the bar, straight into the octagon. That's not a bad idea for Kid Rock.
Not.
They should have octagon fighting bars.
They should not. They should not. Imagine Mitrione walking in there just like, oh, I'm here to have a couple beers. Oh, you want to step in there? Okay. Dead. Dead.
Or they
Sleep.
They have a house fighter, and you have to challenge the house fighter.
Oh, you get free drinks. You beat the house fighter.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You don't tap. All right, what else is out
The CDC is warning of aggressive rodents on the hunt for food amid the pandemic.
there? They
heard
have
about
been
that.
pretty aggressive.
Sorry about that.
I got a couple raccoons that are at the house that are eating Captain Crunch berries every night. They must be living like kings out there in the woods. I'll tell you, I got the fattest squirrels and raccoons in town living around in my house and around my house. It's next level. This one squirrel popped up last night. Sam took a picture. Nuts this big. Nuts were just hanging from
Oh, you mean the actual testicles.
Testicles.
Yeah, I'm talking about nuts.
Cojones.
Just this big. We're talking massive. It made no sense.
You know what that
Dragging on the
means,
ground.
too?
Dragging all over the place.
More kids. They're coming.
It's only a matter of time before he unloads that thing all over a bunch of chipmunks.
Is your house the New York City of Indiana for animals?
I do believe. I've heard some stories, though, about New York City no longer being New York City after this whole thing because of the whole work from home operation, which is very interesting. I was reading some tweets about it. People are like, well, with the new work from home technology that is guaranteed to come because cities aren't going to be able to open back up.
Yeah.
And Twitter has already said you can work from home forever if you get the right technology or whatever. Assume other companies are probably going to do the same thing. Why would you move back to New York City where you're going to pay, what, $10 million for a 400 square foot thing if you can just pop up at the beach and do your work from there?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like this might be, I think that might be the biggest change post quarantine is like what happens to the large cities that we've known for so long. I love New York City, by the way.
Where are they going to go? Are they going to fly south and just go Florida?
I would go right to a beach if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we could have done that already, but I don't think we could afford this setup. And my house would be like $70 million in any place that had like any real.
True.
My house is the dumbest house that.
Well, add the animals on, too. I mean,
Oh yeah, well they know. That's why they're in there. It's like, oh, this is a stupid, ridiculously oversized house that this human should not own because it's only him and his fiance in there, and they use a room and a half of the whole place.
if you move, you think they're just going to, pack up their stuff from the chimney
oh
and
yeah,
follow
it's
suit
gonna be
as well?
homeward bound, pal.
There it is.
It's gonna be homeward bound.
Instead of raccoons, you're going to be feeding gators, and that could get dangerous.
Hey, I don't know how I would deal down there with the thought of a dinosaur popping up out of the water behind my house and just eating my dogs.
No
Yeah.
thanks.
Does that happen?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
1,000%.
Snatch.
Chuck too, the little corgi dog in my house. He would be in there antagonizing those damn gators too. He does this boop thing with his nose where he just comes up and boops you right in the face. He almost gave me a black eye the other day. It's not like a lick; it's just like a boop. How you doing? He would do that to a gator, and the gator would be like, "See ya." So I don't think I can live in Florida, California, maybe. Anything else happening?
In their first home game back
Oh,
since the
those
Bundes-
taxes though. There's no chance I'm living there with those
Yeah,
taxes.
exactly. No, California's off the table.
Right now, currently, because the taxes are so high, and I believe they're locked down for what, another year and a half or something like
Yeah,
that.
at least till September.
Florida, no income tax. In their first home game back since the Bundesliga
Nick
return,
wants us to move to Florida pretty bad.
Borussia Mönchengladbach used
Florida guy.
13,000 cardboard cutouts of supporters to make the stands look less empty. Each fan paid 19 euros for a cardboard cutout of themselves to be used.
Are those currently open to purchase right now? Can we buy a 19 euro cardboard cutout to go into the stands of the Bundesliga? Because I would like 13,000 of those.
Of you?
No, us. Obviously, we were in there. Maybe we had our friend Aaron. Maybe we put Aaron in there.
I don't know.
AJ's big jaw is definitely sitting there front row. Maybe behind the opposing team, a little bit of a distraction.
Get like 3 seats for Zeets cut up.
Oh, wow.
That's a problem. We have to get our break. I mean, it's just it never ends. Great segment. Hope it's never sponsored again, so we don't have to deal with that.
Jeez, Nick.
That was a little bit.
That was low.
13,000 to just you in the stands also might be a little hysterical as well.
Yeah.
That's too much
No.
of me.
No, I don't think so.
Too much of me. Maybe we put 13,000 Zitos in there.
Okay.
Nah, that's yeah. We take the green screen photo that we would like them to use. It's both hands up, a Zito just yelling. Yeah, he would have to have a cigar, by the way.
I would love it to be animated, so I press a button and my hands go up.
Oh, like
Robotic.
Trying.
those are probably more than 19 euros. We're ready for it, though. By the way, we're ready for it.
Trying to buy it here for you, but the website's in German, so I can't.
Oh, I got
Oh, Tim McAfee.
Oh, yeah.
Tim McAfee speaks a little bit of German. Ja,
Eins.
ja.
Viven.
Ein groß Bier bitte.
Du hast mich.
Is that I like beer?
I would like one big beer, please. Not one of them little ones. Nah.
Nah.
I know you hear my accent and you think American can't drink a gross one. No, I want the gross one, the big one. 35 minutes after the hour, we got WWE NXT superstar Damien Priest on the other side. It's not a FaceTime, by the way. He does not have an iPhone.
No.
Was really hoping we could see his face.
Android game.
Zoom.
Zoom. Zito's going to have to get to work. We got 5 minutes till he's on. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. 41 minutes after the hour. Somebody in the YouTube comment section said they know Emmett, and he's currently drunk right now. We would expect nothing more or less from him. Joining us now, WWE NXT superstar Damien Priest. Yeah! Boy, Damien!
Hell yeah.
Damien, I love the vibe you're putting out right now, pal. Looks like you like to have a good time. What's going on over there?
That's basically a true statement right there. That's all I do. That's all how I live my life.
How long have you been with NXT?
A year and a half now? Since my but about less than a year since my debut.
Okay, and how long have you been wrestling altogether in the indies and all that stuff?
This will be my 16th year.
16 years in this thing?
Yeah, wild, right?
Here we go. That's all paying off, Damien Priest. We're climbing up the ladder. We're getting through the scale. You get through the whole thing. You get to the NXT. Now it looks like you're enjoying the hell out of your life. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. And I couldn't be happier about where I am right now.
What is life for you on a daily basis? You look like a rock star, does he not?
Yeah.
He looks like you look like a rock star, which, by the way, not a normal thing these days. The rock star look is not one that we know. You look like a full blown rock star. What is the daily life like at this point?
I mean, from what I'm probably allowed to say. We're
talking about risque stuff on a daily basis.
Like I said, I love living life. So anything I can do to have a good time, for people around me to have a good time, that's what I'm about, since from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep.
What time do you wake up normally? It's pretty early, right, for a rock star, I'd assume? 10:43 here?
This is pretty early.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you getting up this morning. A guy who was on RRV just a year ago. He's an Irishman, a handsome man. He hasn't had a sandwich in probably 15, 20 years from now. I saw the other night you called out to Finn Balor. What's that all about?
Well, I mean, you have a guy who's basically a megastar in our business. Came back to NXT because he says he loves it and he wants to find that feeling again. The Prince is back and all that. But honestly, he came back because he thought it would be easy to have his way with the place like he did back in the day when he was here the first time.
Unbelievable, this guy. I didn't know that. I thought he was a nice guy. I didn't know he was coming in to try to Debo people around.
That's why he was sucker kicking, left and right, whoever he could do it to. But
this guy.
Unfortunately for him, Damien Priest works here now. So, and I said it, on TV, basically, that was a potential target that turned into an opportunity. That's something I wasn't thinking about at the moment when he came. Of course, I was like, well, there you go. That's how you make your name live forever. Take that guy out. And that's basically what I'm doing right now, or at least trying to. Let's see if he mans up, which I would think he should, since I punked him out on national television.
You did punk him out on national television, and I want to let you know this morning, when I woke up, I had a text message from a number that I did not know. While I was taking my morning grumpy, I said, well, I'm not going to call this number back because it said, call me ASAP. I said, well, I don't know who this is, and I'm not going to call them while I'm on the John because they'll know I'm currently taking a grumpy while calling the person. I get in my car to drive down to work. I call the number back. Guess who it is? Damien Priest.
No idea.
William Regal.
What? Regal?
William Regal.
What?
The general manager of WWE NXT, William Regal, who I have seen before. I have shaken his hand before, but I have never actually interacted with William Regal before. He knew you were coming on the show. Okay. He was excited for you to be on the show. He said, he said Damien Priest was a good guy, didn't he?
He did.
What was the wording? He said Damien Priest, super good guy.
Damien Priest is an excellent guy.
That's what he said. I'll enjoy the conversation with you. And then he said, let him know mid-conversation that Finn Balor has accepted his challenge and at WWE NXT TakeOver in your house Sunday, June 7th, Damien Priest, the man who's a rock star, will battle against the Prince, Finn Balor, and Finn Balor will have a direct answer for you tomorrow night, NXT USA Network, 8 p.m. You wanted it, Damien! You wanted it! You got it! Yeah! You got it, Damien!
Hell yeah.
You want nunchucks?
I got plenty of weapons. Don't worry.
Oh,
I'm good.
talking about thunder and lightning. Don't get caught in a storm.
That's incredible. I mean, what an idiot. I mean, of course, I figured he would. I mean, like I said, I embarrassed him on TV, so he's got to stand up for himself or else he's going to look stupid to his fans. But ultimately, I'm my worst enemy, right? I take things too lightly because I love having a good time. But I'm overestimating him come takeover because this is not something I'm going to play with. I always talk about wanting my name to live forever, and I live in infamy and all this, but ultimately, I got to put my money where my mouth is, and that's where at takeover this comes into play. I'm coming in serious, and I'm going to beat him. And there is no ifs and buts about it. If I want my name to live on and to stand the test of time, I have to beat Finn Balor.
Well, there you have it. Yeah. Damien Priest, Finn Balor, WWE NXT TakeOver in your house, Sunday, June 7th. Finn Balor will answer you tomorrow night. Can't wait to hear what the handsome Irishman has to say. And by the way, you might take him serious. I assume he'll do the same. Don't let him bicycle kick you right in the mouth. That's his move, Damien. Keep your chin free of the bicycle kick to the mouth.
Can he even reach me?
Oh, because you're saying you're tall, he's short. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I have a pretty good-sized chest. He probably could reach my chest. I could take it.
Well, don't let him kick you in the tit. He might stop your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, NXT superstar Damien Priest.
Go get him!
Hey, good luck out there, Damien. Good luck, pal.
Appreciate it.
Turn him into that skeleton that's right behind your head there on the wall.
Hell yeah.
Is that a gold tooth you got in there?
No, man. No gold teeth.
Okay, I thought it was. It might be just a shadow.
My smile's just shining right now because he accepted.
Okay, good news. Well, good luck out there, ladies and gentlemen. Damien Priest.
Hey, Damien!
Woo! What a moment for our show. Breaking news on there.
What's going
on, Nick? What are you laughing about, Nick? What's the problem, Nick?
Just the sheer audacity of Finn Balor thinking he can beat Damien Priest is unbelievable.
No way.
Unbelievable.
That
The
guy's
sheer
huge.
audacity.
Well said.
Who does he think he is?
Who do you think I am?
Priest is a beast. He's going to take him down.
That was a good time. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't take up my nunchucks.
I know. Well, he's got plenty of weapons already.
Yeah, well, I want to know what those are. Is that the big chest he's got?
The moons.
Sunday, June 7th, Damien Priest, Finn Balor take each other on, and one of them might kill each other, buddy. There's me and Finn Balor in the RP. Oh. That felt good to drop that news on him right there.
That was huge.
Anytime you have insider information, you kind of get nervous,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know when I wanted to drop it on him, but boy, it was just sitting there waiting, and he teed it up there, and I was like, hey, you wanted it, you got it, pal. Hey, Zito, way to make that Zoom happen.
Attaboy, Z.
Good job. Z.
Attababy, Z.
Attaboy, Z. I didn't see, so what was it? Was it a skeleton on the back there?
It was a skeleton.
think so.
It's a nice little surrounded by all the moons.
He said he has a good time. What do you think he does? Do you think he does? He does all the things.
He doesn't do drugs, right?
No, he can't because you get tested down
Yeah.
there. But he just, he probably likes to have a good time out there. You think he has sex?
He might.
Tony.
Wow. Real rock star. Slinging D. Damien Priest. Finn Balor, by the way. Very handsome individual.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best looking humans I've ever seen in real life. He's got like a 45 pack. Well, there he is. Not the guy on the right, the guy on the left, just in case you were confused.
With Connor.
So his intro, for those that don't watch wrestling, Finn Balor's intro is he comes out and it's a song and then it goes dark and then when a part of the music hits, all the lights in the entire arena go off and he goes like this and I tried to reenact it in the RV there. I was a little bit late on it. We are the dumbest show of all time. Dumbest show of all time. Let's go to Star Trek down there in Auburn, Alabama. What's going on, Star Trek? You all right, Ty?
Yeah, okay.
Cuzzy, you think Finn Balor's got any shot against Damien Priest out there? I just don't think he stands a chance, honestly.
I don't think so either. They're going to crush him.
Yeah, I think he's going to catch him, maybe beat the hell out of him. What do you want to talk about, brother?
So we're talking about the measuring the spike on the simulator, and that can be done.
What did he say?
In the analytics, when projecting a team,
Thank you, Star Trek.
you can in fact measure the amount of spite a player like Aaron Rodgers will have.
Oh, that is something that they do put in there?
They factor
That's
it
one of
in.
the columns?
No, they don't.
You can't measure that. That's like at the combine. They always say you can't measure work ethic, you can't measure heart, you can't measure grit. Now Star Trek in Auburn, Alabama is saying that you can measure that?
Yeah,
What did he tell you?
He said he's an analytics major. He said one of the analytics they do factor in is spite. That's what he said.
Well, how do they know how spiteful Aaron Rodgers is?
They don't.
They don't. This might be a next level spite that we have never seen before. Unprecedented spite. And nobody knows what that could account for.
I assume they just give max spite for Aaron.
But what if the max spite has been
It's not high enough.
glass ceiling effect here? What if
Yeah.
he's blown through the spite level because of what has happened?
Out. We will find out.
But it does seem like Aaron is at the point of his career where he's like, his press conference, he's very understanding. You know what I mean? He was very understanding. And the FBI maybe took that into account. Like, oh, maybe Aaron is handling this too well, by the way. That's why he's at 15, because he's been so professional and so mature about the entire thing.
Maybe, but also if he knows how they measure that, then why didn't he? How do they measure it? I mean, you can just say like, yeah, they do measure spite. But
You think Finn Balor's spite level is going to be so high?
wow.
Through the roof.
Because the Beast Priest called him out and embarrassed him in front of all of his fans.
He's called him short too. He said he was too short to even reach him.
Oh, he said his bicycle kick wouldn't even reach his face.
Yeah,
chest maybe?
he's not going to be happy.
Jeez.
The Prince.
Nick, what did you say? The gall.
The audacity, the gall. I mean, it's unparalleled. I've never seen anything like that.
That Finn Balor would answer Damien Priest like that?
Yeah, what is he thinking?
What is he thinking?
Guy's a monster.
The guy, look at him. He sleeps until noon. He's going to be well rested. He's going to take it over serious.
Gosh darn rock star.
Didn't he look like he had a gold tooth in there?
Yeah. He did.
What, is everybody laugh? Is that what, did I do something wrong there?
No, it definitely looked like a gold tooth right in that spot.
So what are you guys laughing at? I did something wrong here?
No, you didn't do anything.
Sure feels like you guys.
You didn't do anything.
Gold tooth, huh?
As soon as we go to a break, by the way, there's going to be something said to me. What's wrong?
I just didn't know gold teeth were black these days.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
I thought it was a gold tooth.
No.
It was a black tooth? Is that what you're saying?
I think
a
he was
hole?
missing a tooth in general.
Oh.
In the shadow. It did
That's
look
cool, by the way. He's a professional wrestler. You'd expect
Yeah,
that.
he's taking
Why
a
is
couple
everybody saying, why is everybody saying I'm a bad guy? That's
Well,
a very
that just
expected
means he
thing.
got kicked in the mouth.
Hour one's done. We're back on the other side. Why are you guys going after me right now? What the fuck? You guys make me feel like a terrible person over
What kind
here.
of dead tooth you're asking if it's a gold?
He's missing a tooth and you have to be
Bro, he's a professional wrestler. As soon as I asked the question, I saw you guys all start. I heard it all. I heard all the news. I heard that in the back. It was like, God damn.
The interview was over. He was getting off. You were out free and clean, and
I
then you
will
had to
say,
ask.
I will say, I tried to end that conversation. Zito kept them on, and Foxy didn't cut away.
I did.
What do you want from me?
That was my bad.
Jesus Christ.
But rock stars do have gold teeth.
They do. There's this, I believe, because after he said no, it's not a gold tooth, I looked up a picture of him, and I believe it's his two front teeth, and then the next two are set back a little bit, and then it's the pointy one, so it looks like.
Listen, I got nothing but respect for that guy.
No. Of
Love
course
him.
not.
Love the priest.
If he had a gold tooth, though, that'd be awesome. Maybe
Yeah,
something to
but-
think
He
about.
should get one now, yeah.
Good gimmick.
You guys are terrible, though. You guys are bad people over there.
Like the sticky bandits.
Exactly. Finn Balor's got another thing coming to him, though, by the way.
does.
That guy is very tall. We saw him in, I forget where we were. First time I saw him. It's down in Orlando, I think. He just came walking by, and I was like, holy
Yes.
shit, what is that thing? 6'6", I think, or something like that? nature?
Monster.
Finn Balor is a little guy, but we broke news there. It felt pretty good to be in the insider game. Can't be wrong, by the way. I hope that is true, what I was told, and that wasn't just a...
You have reputable, sources that are telling you otherwise.
Is it, though? I did not have the number saved, and I never talked to him before. What if I was wrong there? Dave in New York, what's going on, pal?
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good, too.
Oh, man, you sound good too, man. Thanks for having me. You're like the best on the mic in the world, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate that. He said me I'm the best redneck in the world.
Best on the
on
mic.
No, you're
Oh, okay.
best on the mic, man.
I'm so sorry. I'm getting text messages about me being rude to that guy. Sam just sent me one. It was like, why'd you have to ask that? My mom just sent me a text. Jesus. I've never felt this. I would like to apologize to Damien Priest. I did not mean it in that fashion. I'm sorry. What do you want to talk about, Dave?
Hey, man, I was just wondering, do you think that Adam Gase is a stooge?
Yeah, I do. Let's
Yeah,
go.
you do?
Yeah, you do too. I mean, we all do. Let's go to Rocky over there in Oregon.
Hey, Pat, how's it going?
Not too shabby. How are you?
You know, just out here working on the farm, just a normal day.
Oh, wait. I know.
I wanted to run.
Hold on. You're the second
Yeah,
farmer. You're the second farmer we've talked to this week. Now we know a little bit about this whole thing. What type of farm are you on?
Oh, I work for a horse farm. We have 62 horses on hand. We also do some hay, straw. We do Christmas trees, and we also do a little bit of THC vitamins, if you know what I'm talking about.
Whoa! Future cowboy. Too. Are you on Jordy Nelson's farm?
I wish. I mean, I would like to live out in Kansas on a 1,000-head cattle ranch that they got out there. I loved your interview with him, and this is kind of why I wanted to bring this up to you.
Good transition.
Sports betting we're seeing it grow, but I'm a huge rodeo fan. I don't know if any of you boys have ever been to a rodeo. They're absolutely electric. Pat, you would probably be you'd probably love it. You'd be a great person to be a commentator in it. I couldn't imagine anything more. But now you have an influence at FanDuel to get sports betting going. Can we get betting on rodeos going?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
especially on bull rides.
Wait, is it who controls who wins?
So it's all about judging and scoring. So mainly with bulls, it is time. So it's like whoever lasts longest on the bull, which is 8 seconds,
could probably
like
get
the minimum time.
Yeah.
Then you're kind of like ranked on how you ride there. So I guess you could be betting on exactly how long each person would last on the bull. Like, oh, this dude looks like a skinny stooge like Foxy. He's going to come off the bull in 3 seconds.
Whoa. Skinny stooge, yeah, for sure. Go ahead. Keep going. What you say? We're trying to finish the conversation here with Rocky, Foxy, if you keep it down.
So, I mean, the way that you could do the judging would kind of be with bull riding would be on timing, and same with roping, which was what Jordy does, it sounds like, with the calf roping.
Bingo, yeah.
So it would be all about timing. So you'd be betting on time of the event. So it's just kind of an interesting thing. I've never really heard of it or seen it. I mean, you guys are a betting show. I got into sports betting because of you guys, and it's something that I'm interested in because rodeo is one of my favorite things.
This does sound like something. The regulations on sports gambling is a whole nother world because with offshore gambling sites, you can basically put anything down as a bet. Anything. Literally, there was at one point like $40,000 to $50,000 being bet on whether or not I would bowl over a 130 on a Thursday at noon one time. Like that is offshore betting. You used to be able to do all that stuff. Now with the regulations, it has to be very, very straight in the entire thing. The timing thing, though, does seem like that's something that could be bet. I don't know all the rules or laws inside and out, but that feels like something that could happen.
Timing seems like it's in play.
It would be nice to get the Cowboys in a little bit of action too. Yeah. They deserve it. Bet on the boys. Have some beers. Bet on some bulls. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, May 26, 2020. In the first hour, we had legend Damien Priest on the show. And we broke news to Damien Priest that at WWE NXT TakeOver on June 7th, Sunday, Finn Balor and he will be battling it out for brand legacy. Mm-hmm. He wants to live in infamy. He wants to live on forever. He has to beat Finn Balor. At the end of that conversation, I asked him a question that the boys, my mom, and my fiance have said was rude. I did not mean to do so. I respect the man, but Finn Balor was on our RV. He was not. Even though Finn Balor's become a bad guy and trying to take advantage of people, I am on. I don't want to say whose side I'm on. Okay. Because I think there's a chance I'll potentially have to talk about this later on down the road. I would like to be an impartial judge.
Yeah. You're a professional.
Yeah, but he does not have a gold tooth. At Nick Morato's here, at Tone Diggs is here, Ty Schmidt is here, Jason McAfee's here, Viva Lazito's here, Evan Foxy's here, Boston Connor's on the phones doing his thing. This hour we have Michael Lombardi joining us, formerly NFL general manager for the Cleveland Browns and worked for the Patriots organization with Bill Belichick for a while. Knows all things about sports gambling. Can't wait to chat with him about the 4th and 15 onside kick alternate option that is potentially going to be put into play. And also this FBI football power index that we went through in the first hour. Chiefs are at 1, Ravens are at 2, Niners are at 3, Saints are at 4, and then the rest are all up for grabs. They got the Cowboys at 5. Didn't make much sense to many of us, but the dead last team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, are on there. The Patriots are at 9. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at 8. Seattle Seahawks 7. Philadelphia Eagles at 6. Everything else kind of, a little bit of a question mark. I don't know if the FBI, Mr. and Mrs. Watson, the computers that figured this out, are 100% accurate. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 12 is interesting to me because they almost made the playoffs last year with literally no offense. Their number 1 wide receiver not playing. Number 1 quarterback getting his elbow fixed at the age of 38. Tommy John. Interesting to see if he bounces back. But all these things, a lot of question marks. All we do know is that the computer agrees with most of us that the Jacksonville Jaguars, number 32 team in the NFL next year. For sure. Gardner Minshew. They could have brought in Cam Newton. They chose not to. They got rid of Nick Foles. Maybe Gardner Minshew, though, by the way. Number 2 quarterback in rushing last year.
Really?
Lamar Jackson, number 1. Gardner Minshew, number 2. I saw his highlights. He was running. He looked very athletic. He looked very fast. Minshew mania captivated Jacksonville, something that hasn't happened to Jaguars fans in a long time. Everybody thinks that they're going to be a bad football team. Maybe Jacksonville thinks, hey, we got a guy in Gardner Minshew. Yeah, we tried to trade a guy because he potentially said that another quarterback should come in. And yeah, we got rid of a corner because he almost fought 5 of our coaches. And yeah, we got a tight end and a defensive lineman that don't want to be here. Yeah, all this stuff. But around that, inside the stadium that has 2 pools in it, we got a team that we think we like, and Marone's around for another year. But aside from that, I don't really know if any of that matters at this point. I just know that it feels like New York governor said, hey, facilities are allowed to be open for professional sports. Florida governor said facilities are allowed to be open for professional sports. Arizona governor said facilities are allowed to be open for professional sports. California governor came out and said that facilities are allowed to be open for professional sports. And now New Jersey, who houses 2 NFL teams, says that facilities are allowed to be open for professional sports. It feels like, and we've been saying this for 3 weeks now, it does feel as if everything is getting back on track for sports to be back in our lives on a very regular basis. Now, we know that football would not be happening right now, but we would at least have OTAs to be talking about. We'd at least have storylines. We'd at least have conversations. Hey, how's Joe Burrow intermixing with the Cincinnati Bengals team? What's going on with Dalton down there in Dallas? The Dak Prescott news will be much bigger, but now it really does feel as if optimism is allowed to happen when it comes to sports, because places that we never thought would say, yeah, professional sports can happen, are starting to say, hey, professional sports can happen. Will fans be in the stands? Probably not. Will there have to be a little bit of a rollout period a rollout phase of how many people are in the stadium and how that'll handle? Yes, but I do believe sports are coming all the way back, and that's great news. The NHL is voting on it. They're voting yes to vote on other things. They're saying yes. The MLB, Jeff Passan was on Get Up this morning. He said, this is the most crucial week in Major League Baseball in a quarter of a century or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, by the way, quarter of a century is a great way to describe 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Since the 90s?
Yeah, because 2.5 decades doesn't do as much. You know what I mean? It's not as much. 25 years sounds like a lot, but a quarter of a century is like, that's a lot there. Oh, my God. But it is a real big deal. Jeff Passan was on our show 2 weeks ago, and he said a lot of things have to happen in the next 3 weeks. You need governors, you need mayors, you need local television, local radio, you need the players, you need the owners, you need everybody to buy in. It feels like this week you're finally getting put on the shot clock. Will the MLB be able to turn around like the Bundesliga has been able to do, like Korean baseball has been able to do? Now it's very different. UFC's obviously putting on fights. NASCAR happened. And golf this past weekend won the weekend. The match 2, where Peyton and Tiger Woods teamed up to take on Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. The ratings have come out. We thought it was going to be big. It was. 5.8 million, which makes it the largest cable golf thing in the history of cable golf things. Cable, obviously not network television. Network television, for instance, the Masters on NBC, that had around 10 million, which makes me ask, where were the other 4.2 million that watched the Masters that could have watched the 2 best golfers of a generation and potentially the 2 best quarterbacks of a generation play golf whenever there's no other sports going on? What are the other 4.2 million doing? I have no idea, but 5.8 million people average, a high of 6.3 million. That is a lot of humans watching people golf. Tom Brady probably would have been the only one that would have hated that many people seeing him golf, but he holed out from 150. He made an eagle putt. He was in that thing till the end. They were down 3, then down 1. I think it was a win-win for all sides, and I'm happy that 5.8 million people watch. I thought it would have been more. Not only because the Masters had 10 million, and Game of Thrones averaged like 10 million. And that's on HBO, which is hard to get to. But I just thought people, just like I thought The Last Dance would have more than like 6 million. It had like 6 million every time. I would assume that our world that we live in, we think these things are a lot more important than everybody else seems to think. But here's some other numbers of things that didn't happen on network television, but happened on cable television. The NHL playoffs, okay? The NHL playoffs averaged 1.4 million. The NBA playoffs averaged 4 million. The MLB averaged 3 million. In the AFL Aussie Rules Football Grand Final averaged 2.93 million. So I guess sports, the live watching, when it's not on a network channel, is not as high as you would expect for other things, probably because you can get highlights and catch up with everything like that. But why do you think those numbers aren't as high as, let's say, Game of Thrones, or let's say the 30 million people that watched the NFL playoffs whenever they were on network television? Is it strictly because of access? Is it because it's so high up in the channel changer? What is the reason on why it's low? And by the way, if we were to get 5.8 million people to watch this, we would be ecstatic. We would be beyond pumped. But I'm just saying, I thought, you could have told me 700 million people watched that on Sunday, and I would be like, yep, I agree completely.
I think potentially is because it was a holiday weekend when people have been inside for 2 months, and they used this weekend to go. You saw like the Ozarks and Scottsdale and all these places where they had a chance to get outside. So their first priority probably wasn't the match. So if it was, there's a normal situation, then maybe it would have been 10 million possibly. I think the holiday weekend hurt the match.
Really?
See, I assumed it was just because those people don't have cable. Like if you're watching the Masters, you can just plug a cable jack into your wall. You have an antenna. You get those like 8 channels that everyone gets. Like
so it's just access.
I think so. Like I think a lot of people are just cutting the cord, and you're not getting even ESPN or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
anymore.
you put those bunny ears up on the thing too. You still get NBC. You still get ABC. You still get CBS. You don't get Turner. You don't get TNT. You don't get True TV either. So I guess that would be the reason why. And also golf. I would assume a lot of people were like, hey, I'll just see the highlights here. I'm not going to stick with it. And I think they missed quite a show. What's up, Colin?
Well, and that's the thing. It says peak 6.3 million. Is that the end of the match?
Yeah, they had a time
5:45
to 6:30 or something like that. It was in that point. So they gave that direct thing. And also, who does these ratings? How do these ratings work? Nobody knows how ratings work anymore. It's like, because if does YouTube TV cover any Turner channels? No.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, it does.
Do they account for those? Do they
that's how
account
I
for
watched
people
it.
that are watching on YouTube TV? Like, are they account for Diggs watching it?
I would assume these numbers are strictly off like Nielsen, like box ratings, like cable box ratings. I don't know if it would account for like YouTube TV or if you're watching it through Roku or anything like that.
I would assume whenever they say 6 million people watch us golf, right? Alternate shot and long drive and all this stuff, that's a massive success. And I loved it. But in my head, I thought, you could have told me 20 million people watching. I would have been like, that makes sense. I legit. I said 700 million earlier, but if you legitimately told me 20 million or 30 million people watching, I'd have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Because you think the NFL people would come. You think the golf people would come. You think the people that just like sports, the gamblers would come. I would have thought that. So maybe it's just a whole new world in ratings.
Do you think it would have done that if it would have been on NBC or like Fox or CBS?
I guess that's, if it goes into your point of access,
Yeah.
I would assume that it would have done a lot better. But I mean, why would Turner put up Bleacher put up the money?
Yeah.
So that's a Turner company. But you would think that'd be something like NBC, CBS, or ABC would have been like, oh, here's a home run. But then you don't have Charles Barkley,
Yeah, true.
which is a big part of the whole thing.
When those numbers did come out, though, like it was said like as a success. So like they're
Yeah,
saying,
1,000,000% it's a success. And by the way, everybody nowadays, because I think ratings are a lot harder to get than it used to be, because you have no idea what's being tracked. Because the Nielsen ratings, I think that is, they track like some boxes and who's watching your and everything like, but it's not, they do a calculation on a set amount of, so I don't know how accurate it is. We talked about this the other day because Nielsen's getting into data ratings too. It's like, does Nielsen know? Who is this Nielsen lady or man? Who the hell are they? How does this work?
Mr. Nielsen.
And you always hear people talk about back in the day ratings where you only had like 4 options for entertainment. Now you can watch an entire golf match, all the big moments on your phone as they're happening. As soon as Tom Brady holed out, Bleacher Report had that up, which by the way they should have because it's marketing to drive to the show. But it's like, okay, all the people that maybe were thinking about not showing that or not watching that, they already saw the highlight right there. It's like, okay, let's move on. I don't got to do anything else. And then Justin Thomas calls Charles Barkley a fat ass. Like, okay, that's a clip that's put on thing. I saw that. You basically, I think viewing habits are so different now. Those ratings, I guess I shouldn't expect them to be that high. Game of Thrones, you couldn't watch anywhere else, right?
Correct.
No.
Unless
So
you
that-
pirated it, but yeah.
Other than that, so if people want those ratings back, which I hope they don't, because I like following along with stuff on my phone and not really having to watch the entire thing, especially stuff, like hockey and stuff like
Don't want to do that. But
well, if it's not the Penguins, if it's some other stupid team, it's like hard because hockey's impossible to find, especially now because they're voting on things.
Yeah, like a fake hockey town in Detroit. But
exactly. Yeah.
Do you think the rain or the delay, do you think that affected anything at all? Because it did go pretty late.
The issue with all of the thoughts of did the delay affect and everything like that, I guess in Indiana, nobody was home. Like the quarantine, in some places, people are locked in their houses. You would expect anybody that's interested in sports to turn on the show if they're locked in their house. But I think that's more indicative of what was happening on Memorial Day weekend of what everybody was doing. 5.8 million is a lot of people. I am not saying that it's not. That is a lot of people. But it's like whenever you think about the Masters, it had 10 million. Now it's down on network television. So is that big of a difference? Network television is a 40% difference. Is that real?
It might be. I mean, pretty much every house has a TV, but they don't necessarily have cable. But you can access the Masters if you want to watch it without cable.
5.8 million people got to see a great show. I'm happy to be one of them. Proud to be one of them. And boy, if you would have told me 75 million people watch it, I would have agreed. In my head, I'm trying to calculate the actual number. You tell me 75 million people watch that golf thing, I would have been like, I believe it. I absolutely believe
Brady and Peyton too. Like for us, I feel like Brady and Peyton are the pinnacles of the biggest sport.
Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I would have thought that. Now, granted, it's the biggest golf thing in cable history. I mean, this is a record-breaking thing. But if you would have told me a astronomical amount of humans after that number were watching, I'd have been like, yeah, absolutely, I agree completely. Yeah.
Also, that Masters number, that 10 million that we have from last year, is Tiger won it. So I mean, that's just going to be a
the Tiger effect is real, just like the Tom Brady effect is real. You listen to the commentators on schedule release night. They had Jim Nantz, Joe Buck, Al Michaels, and Rich Eisen talking. And whenever those commentators were talking about having Tom Brady on the schedule, it was like, oh, we have Tom this year. Like, oh, excited for the NFC to get a chance to learn about Tom. Joe Buck was talking about how he hasn't had a lot of Tom Brady games, and Jim Nantz was like, oh, you're going to love Tom. You're going to absolutely love Tom. And Tom does well for business, by the way, is what Al Michaels said, I believe. So it's like Tom Brady is an eyeball grabber. Peyton Manning is an eyeball grabber. Tiger Woods is an eyeball grabber. And those calves that Phil Mickelson have is electric, must-see stuff. Charles Barkley's in there as well. Hey. Tough to get eyeballs these days, I guess. Or maybe Nielsen's just screwing everybody over. There is a lot of options. Including WWE NXT TakeOver Sunday, June 7th. Damien Priest, Finn Balor. I want to go around. I want to hear predictions right now. We just saw Damien Priest right there. Who wins, Damien Priest or Finn Balor?
Damien Priest, without question.
He's muted. That's unfortunate that Jason.
It's a shame I said it, but
what'd you say, Damien Priest?
I don't want to be on record.
Okay, Diggs, who you got?
Damien Priest is going to party all over Finn's face.
Ty?
Yeah, Damien Priest dealing a heavy amount of punishment.
Really? Punishment, huh? Yep. Zito, who you got?
Give me the rock star.
Damien Priest.
The Archer, yes.
Jason McAfee, who you got?
I mean, somebody has to say Finn, right?
Foxy, who you got?
I also got Finn Balor. I've seen that six-pack in person.
Foxy!
Connor, who you got?
I love Damien Priest like a brother, but Finn Balor's going to feed him a foot.
Wow, we got a split room. Gonna have fun out Sunday, June 7th.
Well, who you got? Wait, you got to split it.
I'm making my choice Sunday, June 7th.
Smart.
Okay? I want to take in the analytics. I would like to see more from Damien Priest. I'd like to see more from Finn. Let's see what Finn says tomorrow night, USA Network, what he has to answer to. Maybe Finn Balor has a lot of spite like Aaron Rodgers because Damien Priest called him out publicly. And if he doesn't have that fire, I'm going with Damien Priest all damn day.
The rock star.
15 minutes after the hour, we have to get to a break. Michael Lombardi joins us on the other side. We'll talk about the Football Power Index created by computers and their thoughts on teams. We'll talk to him about the 4th and 15 onside kick option. And more. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. I have no clue why. I could see how a guy like Richard Sherman, who's been in the league a long time and has had success, could be like, hold on. This young little isn't going to dap me up. But on the flip side, Baker's like, well, you're enemy number one for me. Because that's how Baker has always operated.
And now Richard Sherman says, so you don't see any difference in the way I shake everyone else's hand and the guy who stands back with the petty shake was BS and I took offense to it, then turns and runs off. It's not that big of a deal.
It swept the nation yesterday. It was controversy like no other controversy in the NFL world. Joining us right now, Richard Sherman. Everything you do and say is going to get talked about. Do you agree?
I would agree.
Baker Mayfield is also a man that everything he does and says is going to get talked about. Do you agree?
I wouldn't agree as much, but sure. So I put my hand out, just out of courtesy. And he gives me a little petty slap on the hand. And I took it as disrespect. People can say, oh my God, he shook your hand. Like, what? Oh my God, you were wrong. You can say whatever you want. I don't give a damn.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Like, hey man, I apologize for the misquote there. I did see on video the dap up, although it was a bit petty. I apologize for everything that happened, or are we just moving forward?
Oh, it's going to be a bit of both. It's definitely my bad. I never want anybody to have to deal with some shit some stuff that they didn't do, And so I'll probably reach out to him via text or social media to actually get a hold of him and talk to him in person. First off, that was a great name y'all came up with, like Dapgate. I was crying laughing. But yeah, he definitely deserves an apology, and that's my bad on that.
Richard, I'll tell you what, bro. To show the humility right there to say, hey, my bad on that entire thing. Once I watched the film back, it was different than what I thought. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot more respect for you. They should at least. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Zito almost just puked. Let's get to our guest immediately. No, I'm joking. He said, oh. Zito is the man who obviously is the contact for everybody that we call. The first person they see is Jose Perez. So I couldn't fathom what life is like for a guest on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, former general manager for the Cleveland Browns, Michael Lombardi. Oh, that's why you're.
How we doing? I got a little problem with my phone here, but I'll figure it out. I'm in my office, but I got it.
No, you can't be like that. People are going to roast you on the internet. We got to get that thing down a little bit.
There we go.
Hey, Hugh Jackson held it this close to his face the entire interview, and the internet, the internet was so rude about it.
For lunch.
It was not good. Mr. Lombardi, thank you so much for taking time to join us. Every time we get to speak, I love it.
Anytime. How's our campaign going? We haven't lost yet.
Well, we haven't lost yet, but I'm not sure if you're not in the race, you can lose. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, some people so far out of the race actually think they're in the lead, so I don't know. We'll see what happens, huh?
We listened to you this morning on VSiN talk about how the 4th and 15 option is not one that you love for the alternate for an onside kick at the end of the game because onside kick percentages, success percentages have gone down so much without the rolling start, without the overload, with everybody up. You said that you hated the 4th and 15 concept, and I didn't get a chance to hear the entire reasoning why. It was clipped and sent to our group text, but I wanted to talk to you about it because if you're all about keeping the onside kick in the kicker's foot, I'm all about it as well, and I want to hear from one of the smartest men I've ever heard talk about football.
First of all, I don't think we should take a special teams play and then attach it to an offensive play. Like, if you want to change the onside kick, okay, I'm all for doing that. If you want to give the team a chance, call it 30% chance to get the ball back, great. But most of the time during a game, when the team has to onside kick, the other team's been in control of the game. Right? They've been in control. The clock's been their opponent. It hasn't, and so they're letting it go. And so the odds should not go up any favorably. And if you convert a 4th and 15 because some guy calls pass interference or somebody roughs the quarterback, now all of a sudden the game is being taken out of control. I think if we want to change it, I think we should change it so that we change the onside kick rule and give guys who have talent like you did to do the onside kick.
Thank you.
Give them a chance to be successful and not have it so that, it doesn't work the other way. I mean, I'm not a big fan of changing the game for the offensive sake. I just don't want to do that.
I think it's so interesting what you're talking about right there because I didn't even think about how the refs will have their hands all over this. And
all over.
The amount of conspiracy theories that'll be out there if an onside kick or a 4th and 15 is converted because of a pass interference and it goes favorably to, let's say, Belichick's squad against the Saints, for the Cowboys, against the Cowboys, something of that nature, the amount of conversation that'll spark from that will be next level. And you're right, roughing the passer too. These little glance of the helmet, all of a sudden, now you're putting a ref in a position like, okay, do I call that because by the book it is the rule? But if I do call it, now we're completely extending the game and potentially changing the outcome of a game that matters very, very much for the maybe the success of the entire city going forward. That is an interesting thing that I haven't even thought about is the penalty factor of it.
Yeah, and then add the fact that, look, say you have the ball and you're up by 10 points. Say you're the opponent has the ball and you're up by 10. And there's 8 minutes to go in the game. They drive it all the way down the field, but they use up almost 7 minutes. They get it below the 2 minute to score. Now you're going to reward them by giving them a chance to convert when the defense has been tired for 7 minutes. Because the reason the defense is tired is because the opponent has been the clock, not the team on the field. So they've let that clock milk down. They're doing their job. Now you're going to reward them for a 4th and 15 when the defense is tired, and then you can't play zone against it because it's too easy. If you play man and get your hands on a 4th and 15, they'll be able to call you. I mean, you're really limited. You play zone and you illegal contact the receiver 8 yards down the field. Oh, flag. Okay, try it again. Oh, no, flag. Try it again. I mean, how many at-bats do you want to get? Why? So we can take the worst team, the team that's been behind all game, and give them a competitive chance. I'm not for it.
Hey, if you don't want us dancing, don't let us score. If you don't want to lose because you can't convert an onside kick, don't be down at the end of a game. That is kind of the thought of everything. And it's interesting because they are overturning the reviewing of pass interference because Alberto Riveron botched it so much last year. And when the report came out that Troy Vincent has said, we failed on the pass interference review, it's like, I don't think that's accurate, Troy. I think the rest of the world got it right, actually. There was just one person who was choosing whether or not to overturn it that got it wrong. And now you're talking about 4th and 15s, extending games and pass interference, and you can't review it. This is very interesting. You're 100% right. This puts even more pressure on the humans on the field who already have enough pressure on them to potentially not get hated by everybody in the building at all times.
No doubt. I mean, look, we know Riveron was sleeping for 9 months. I mean, I don't know what Troy's talking about. Riveron was sleeping. I mean, how many calls did he miss? And they're telling me the system was had Riveron made calls that should have gone the right way, we wouldn't be complaining about it. But he was asleep at the wheel. I mean, and Troy's coming in late and talking about it like, oh, we did a bad job. Well, Troy, your job is to fix the problem when it happens, not after reflection. I mean, that's not what we do.
I really think, and just another thing, holding on offense should only be 5 yards, not 10 yards. It makes no sense that's a 10-yard penalty.
Garrett Bowles supports that completely.
Well, I believe that because if you get one holding, which happens on every single play,
the drive's over.
It's
That's
over.
why Garrett Bowles, you got to take him off the field because he kills more drives than anybody for the Denver Broncos, the left tackle. I mean, that's why he supports 5 yards. He's written the petition. He's got it up before Congress. He holds all day long. So
every once in a while, you'll come on here and there's just somebody that I don't even know is in the league that's just going to get buried from Michael Lombardi. This guy.
Well, I mean, he's the starting left tackle for the Denver Broncos. And if you talk to anybody who watches Bronco games, he's a drive killer. He's a drive killer. He leads the league in holding the last 3 years.
And by the way, holding can get called on every single play. You ask any offensive lineman, they'll say that. You ask any defensive lineman, they'll say that. It's just the egregious ones that get called. But if they're called or accidentally called, it's like, yeah, well, there's 10 yards. Your entire drive is over. Let's talk about the Football Power Index. Did you see this thing come out? Computers dictated what's going to happen next season.
No, I haven't seen it. I can't wait to see this. What do we have? What do you have up your sleeve?
First four makes sense. Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, Niners, Saints, okay? And then at 5, they have the Dallas Cowboys, who don't even know who's going to play quarterback. Why is that? Could you fathom why a computer thinks the Dallas Cowboys are going to be number 5?
Well, I think probably because Jerry owns the computer and he's programmed it so that he knows it.
That was literally what I said. I actually said that computer must live on Jerry Jones' yacht. I said, this seems like...
Jerry's got stock in that computer company running a thing. There's no doubt. I mean, what does Jerry not have stock in? Like, seriously. All the masks we bought, I'm sure Jerry was buying, had that stock in that, So I think the Cowboys will be pretty good. I really do. I think McCarthy gets a beating for being a bad coach. I think McCarthy's a solid coach. He's a solid coach. And I think they need solid. Look, they were 31st in the National Football League last year in close games. They were 1-7 in close games. They couldn't win one. They had the worst special teams in football. Bad. They hired one of the best special teams coaches in John Fossil. I like them. I'm surprised the Eagles are that high, frankly. I think the Eagles, my inclination with the Eagles it's going to be a hard schedule for them.
Can you see this list? Yeah, you can see this list right now?
Yeah, I do, and I love Seattle. Look, I love Seattle. I think Tampa's way overrated. I really do. How about New England being 9, though?
Yeah.
With Jarrett Stidham. How about that?
We don't know if it's Jarrett Stidham. Nobody has come out and said it's Jarrett Stidham. Do you think it is definitely Jarrett Stidham being the starting quarterback week 1?
I think look, no one's going to be given a job in New England, right? So it's going to be his job to lose, but I mean, he's going to have to earn it all the way. There's no doubt about that. He's going to have to earn that job.
You've come on here and said before that you don't see the Cam Newton factor for New England at all. He's still a free agent right now. Do you think he lands anywhere? And do you think any of these teams that are in, let's say, the top 14 would pick him up to be a backup quarterback?
I mean, look, if you're smart, if you're Pittsburgh, I mean, I love the Duckster, you love the Duckster, but we wouldn't want his name going out there. The Rams don't have a backup. They don't have cap room. Buffalo, I think Buffalo's got a Super Bowl team, but it comes down to Josh. You put Cam Newton on the Buffalo Bills, you would give them the East right now. You would give them the East.
Brandon Beane, general manager of the Buffalo Bills, said he will not bring in Cam Newton because he is empowering Josh Allen. They're putting the pieces around Josh Allen. They want Josh Allen to know this is his team. They think that Josh Allen made a massive jump last year, which I would say he did, and they're expecting that same type of thing going in next year. But it will be interesting because if he doesn't and the Bills Mafia does not do, because it's the first time the door's been open in the AFC East, if they don't have success, will Bills Mafia or people around the league and people that speak in a microphone say, if they had Cam Newton, probably a much better squad. That's going to happen in a lot of places, by the way. That's going to happen everywhere.
I mean, Brandon could say all he wants, and I respect him. I really do. But Josh Allen's 7 for 54 on throws over 30 yards. He's 21 for 76 on throws over 20 yards. I mean, if he went to the county fair, he ain't bringing back a stuffed animal. I'm just telling you. It's hard for him, okay? It's hard for him. He's not bringing back. I mean, so, look, you can have Stephon Diggs wide open, and if you can't hit him, you're not getting a stuffed animal. You're not getting a touchdown.
Brandon Beane would say that he hadn't had a deep threat like Stephon Diggs. That's why his numbers haven't been great. But
I think John Brown gets down the field. I think they got guys who get down the field. But anyway, we could debate that later.
Jacksonville Jaguars are ranked number 32 out of 32 teams on this FBI. How do you feel about that?
Well, my nickname for the general manager is David Blaine Caldwell because he's a magician. He's truly a magician. He's been remarkable. Since 2013, they've only picked it outside the top 10 once. He still has his job. He has more players outside the top 5 that are playing somewhere else than on his team. So I think they're definitely tanking. I mean, when you sign Mike Lennon, and God love Mike Lennon, right? I mean, but Mike Lennon as the backup quarterback instead of Cam Newton, seriously, are you really trying to win? Are you trying to win? I don't think you are. I mean, like, Cam Newton's better than Gardner Minshew. He's better. I mean, Cam's got to be sitting in Charlotte saying, like, seriously, they would rather have Gardner Minshew and Mike Lennon? If you and I were to make a trade and Cam Newton, and we could trade Gardner Minshew and Mike Lennon for Cam Newton, with that, there's no way that you would get turned down that trade every time. So it makes no sense. So clearly, Jacksonville's tanking. They want Trevor Lawrence.
Let's talk about trades a little bit because you were general manager for the Browns and you're in the front office there for a while with the Patriots. When trades happen, we talked to Brandon Beane, who said last year, whenever he heard there was maybe a potential rift between Diggs and the Vikings, he was like, hey, we're in the market for a wide receiver. Do you guys look to trade? And they said, no, we're not looking to trade. I think he alluded to the fact that he was potentially in the market for Emmanuel Sanders and somebody else. They were in the market for a wide receiver, but none of them came to fruition. That's why he got Diggs this offseason when he could. But whenever you're a general manager, are you all year like looking around, snooping around, like, hey, is there a chance this guy's on the market and what would you take for him? Like, for instance, people are saying Jamal Adams of the Jets is potentially going to get traded to the Cowboys because Jerry wants to bring him back to Dallas. Jamal Adams isn't happy with the Jets because the GM answered a call on a potential trade after telling him he's not going to get traded. Like, is there other teams other than the Cowboys calling the Jets right now like, hey, we heard Jamal Adams is potentially on the block. Is that happening? Do those conversations happen on a frequent basis?
Yeah, I think they do. And I mean, a lot of it is because you could follow connect the dots, right? So Jamal Adams, does Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets, does he want to pay Jamal Adams huge money in his 6th year? Does he want to extend his deal? And if you say probably he doesn't, let's just say he doesn't, then he's available. Then he's available because he doesn't want to pay him for a long-term deal. So now you got to get into the market and you got to decide, do I pay him a huge sum of money to get an extension plus satisfy the Jets on the trade? Those are hard things to do. He's available, but you've got to have an appetite to pay the player and then pay the ransom. Those are hard things to do.
That's what happened. That's what happened with Jalen Ramsey last year getting out of Jacksonville. Everybody saw there was a beef, and he was owed a big contract at some point. For instance, though, like Malik Hooker's 5th-year option was declined by the team. If you're the GM of another team, does that make you think like, okay, the Colts are potentially good to part ways with Malik if we come with the right setup to get him? I'm not saying that the Colts will trade Malik Hooker. This is just a situation that just happened in Indianapolis. Is there GMs calling Ballard like, hey, what's the deal with Malik? You don't want him to? Can we potentially get in play with him because we look to pay for him later?
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely in play, and I think there's teams that are having dialogue, and I think what Chris Ballard has to decide to do I take this pick or do I wait for the compensatory pick? Would I rather have the player than the pick? I mean, I'm not going to have the player after next year anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But do I want him this year for this team, or would I rather have the pick for next year's team? And that's the debate. And clearly, based on the offers he's gotten, he'd rather have the player than the pick. He's available. It's just going to come down to whether you want to pay the price that Chris wants for him.
So you guys, like Jamal Adams is mad at Joe Douglas for taking the call from the Cowboys to potentially trade for him whenever Joe Douglas told Jamal Adams that he wasn't going to trade him. Are general managers on the phone a lot talking about trades, like a lot more than I could ever imagine?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and you're going to call the guy up and say, hey, look, I know you don't want to sign Jamal, and the reason teams will say, they're not trading the guys because it helps their stock. They have to improve their position. Their negotiating leverage when it gets out that Stephon Diggs is unhappy, it tends to go down. So what do you do to increase your negotiating leverage? You say no. You say, I'm not trading them. That gives you strength in a negotiation. It doesn't mean you're not going to do it. There's all different variances of no. If you called the Bengals to trade for Joe Burrow, that would be a no. If you called the Bengals to trade for Ryan Finley, they might say no, but that's really not a no. That's a different kind of no. So you got to figure out what no's mean anything. Like DeAndre Hopkins was available all last year. All last year, all summer, he was available before the season began. It's just they couldn't find the price that made sense for them.
Shinzu, Art of War, look strong when weak, look weak when strong. I like to hear that most GMs are doing that. You traded Trent Richardson for a number 1 overall pick to the Indianapolis Colts. Was there other teams that were calling for Trent? And how did we know that Trent was potentially being traded?
Well, because remember, go back to the time when you were on that team, you needed a running back. You didn't have a bell cow. And we had just come into Cleveland, and basically I knew the longer we played Trent Richardson, the worse it was going to get. Like either we traded him now or we were going to get a 5th or a 6th round pick for him. So we had to while the shine was on him, we had to make it. So Joe Banner, the president of the team, he and Ryan Grigson go back to the Philadelphia days, and he floated it out there. Hey, look, we'll trade guys, but we're not giving guys away. And he took the bait. And then we were negotiating with nobody else really was that hot after him, especially for who trades a 1st round pick for a running back. But you guys were chasing a Super Bowl.
We were.
And that was going to get the guy over the top. My son worked for the 49ers, and everybody at the Niners, you played the Niners the next week, right? And everybody on that staff was like, oh, why'd your dad trade him to the Colts? You know, that's dumb. Your dad's going to get fired. They were right. Your dad did get fired, but that wasn't a bad trade.
Well, we had Ahmad Bradshaw, too, at that time, and he had a neck issue, but he was healthy for that Niners game. Ahmad, I think, had 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns. Trent, I think, had a touchdown. That was out in Candlestick.
1 yard line. From the 1 yard line. Somebody pushed
Michael.
Were you watching that game after you traded him?
Of course I was watching that game. I studied every play. Are you kidding me? I knew I was right, but I wanted to make sure I was right.
Golly, that's an interesting little piece of information. Like right now, there's a conversation happening between 2 GMs about a potential trade, you think?
Yeah, no doubt. And sometimes it goes like this. When Ron Wolf traded for, Ron Wolf got, remember the running back Ahmad Green?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Ron Wolf calls up, I forget who the GM was at Seattle at the time. It might have been Randy Mueller. He calls up Randy Mueller and says, hey, Randy, I got, Fred Vincent, I think as a corner who's going into his 4th year. I'm not going to probably sign him. You got anybody who you don't want to sign going into their 4th year? Let's just trade those 2 guys. And he traded Ahmad Green for Fred Vincent, and that's how the deal happened.
You think anybody ever called to trade for me?
I would probably think there would have been, because you changed field. You did kickoffs, punts. I mean, you wear great. Nobody wears shorts like that. I mean, come on. Seriously, who can pull that off?
You see them thighs?
I mean, that thigh's worth a lot of money. Let's face it.
This thigh is worth a lot of money. This one ain't worth a single damn. But this one here is really good. Hey, Mr. Lombardi, as are you. Great conversation. I feel like I learned a lot, and I appreciate the hell out of you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Sorry for the phone. I got to get my office fixed here. I'll get it worked out.
What happened? What's going on over there?
Well, I'm in my office here, so this is it looks like a detective agency in here.
Oh.
I got Jerry Rice over here. I got my man Randy over here.
MVP of tailgating.
I got my man Randy. I got the Sopranos over here.
Yeah.
And then I got Valley Forge Military Academy over here where they sent me off to. So
I didn't know that.
And I got a little Browns memorabilia. But this is where I kind of work. Sometimes I come down here, but I got to get a better gig, or I have a computer in here with a video screen. I just got to hook it up with your guys.
We'll send you a thing that'll hold it up there and even put some good lighting on there. We'll get that Paisan.
Well, I got a video camera. Your video guys got to call me. We'll work it out.
Zeta, the guy you'll be is this guy. This guy is the guy that'll be calling you right there. The guy that says,
call me. We'll get it straightened out.
Hey, you were incredible today. Thank you so
buddy.
much, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Lombardi.
Michael.
I think about him listening to like Sinatra in there while drawing on a dry erase board. Could have traded this person for this person.
That.
What's that?
I was listening to him this weekend when I was driving home, and he was talking about a Sinatra concert that he was just watching.
Yeah, you Italians are so predictable. But sorry, us Italians are so predictable. Thank you. Excuse me.
Interesting how you flipped there.
Whoa. Ooh, look at it.
See this?
Just because you got a little gold around your neck doesn't make you Italian.
I'm 0.09% Italian.
Yeah, it does. You
Yeah,
haven't
it
changed.
does.
You're Italian.
It does.
Hey, look. Buca da Beppo! Hey, chicken parmesan, Buca da Beppo!
He's got the chain on.
Yeah.
See,
Hey, ciao!
Ciao, bene.
Grazie! Musico!
You got to put a horn and a maloik on it, though.
I don't have my horn yet.
Don't want the Maloik.
Well, it keeps the molecule.
I don't have my horn yet. For those that did not grow up in an Italian city, I am so sorry to you. Like, no,
Well,
for
I'm sorry.
you, not to you, for you.
I was going to say, I'm sorry for you.
For growing up around all Italians?
Yeah.
Bro, it's awesome. Great food.
You should try the Irish, let me tell you.
Watch your mouth!
Growing up around the Irish is way better than growing up around the Italians.
We have to get to a break. I enjoyed my time around the Italians.
Really?
Yeah, and then as soon as you come out to Indiana where there is 0 Itals, it's a whole different world out here. West Virginia, Morgantown, a lot of Italians. Pittsburgh, a lot of Italians. Get drafted to the Indianapolis Colts, I'm the most Italian person in town. No more pizza, no more pasta, no more incredibly loud dinners, no more yelling at people. Oh, I miss the Italians.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. 41 minutes after the hour, you listen to Pat McAfee.
Someone in the comment section goes, Boogie the Beppo like the restaurant?
Just checking your availability. If you're in Indianapolis now, did you get to Buffalo?
Yeah, I got a plane that's supposed to take me down to game day anyways, so I could definitely have it go to Buffalo first. How long is the flight from Indy to Buffalo? You can find us a plane for like 4 o'clock. I think that'll be perfect.
Yes, we can do is depart around 5:30.
Okay, do we have any other, can you find any other planes that can get us out of here earlier than that? I was just asked if I could appear in Buffalo within the next 4 hours to basically do the show on Fox tonight.
Okay, I'll call you back.
You know what I'm asking for?
Yeah.
All right, so he's gonna call Jim Irsay and see if I can just use Jim's jet. He's calling me back shortly, but just start packing.
Hey.
You're the absolute best. Does this sound like a potential yes you're saying? He's the fucking best. I would be so thankful. Hey, this is really cool. I don't know how many billionaires would do this for people that have worked for them in the past. This is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. Can I take a kendo stick to his back?
We'll talk about it when you get here.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let's break the fucking internet tonight. What a hilarious life. We are live on Fox in 6 hours and 35 minutes. 3 hours of sleep, no clue what the storylines are. Just fucking let the nuts swing, bro. Let's just go out there and have a good time. Plane company. I know. Here we go, boys. All right, we'll talk Smackdown tonight. This is gonna be a night we're gonna look back on and remember. And then we're gonna hop on a plane and head to Memphis for College game day. I think this is a joke too. I just want to let you know, like, this is the Truman Show. I very much understand that this is not supposed to happen. I got the text at 1:42 p.m. today from Mr. H that says, "Have you heard there have been some travel issues? Can you make your way to Buffalo?" Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts, literally lent me his plane. Might be the most confident I've ever been on in something. I didn't know we were that good of friends, to be honest. I was throwing a Hail Mary, and he responded and said, yeah. So I got here about an hour and a half before the show, and to work with Renee, Tom, and be on Smackdown with a bucket of makeup on my face. This has been a dream come true bucket list type situation here in beautiful Buffalo, New York. Come on, boys. We're going to be on cable.
Joined here by Pat McAfee, replacing our guest commentator Aiden English.
No sleeves in, George. Good to see you.
It feels good here in Buffalo. I got a text from the game, a cerebral WWE official. He said, hey, you might have heard about the travel issues. Can you make it to Buffalo? I said, absolutely. What a magical evening it is, November 1st, 2019. I mean, let's be honest. The Marine was a heathen. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a great actor. He was great on The Real World. He was great on all of that.
Oh.
Tegan, no! That's how they do it in NXT, baby. Almost took me out holding another grown lady in the air. November 1st, 2019, greatest SmackDown in the history of SmackDown.
Pat, you joining us? It might absolutely be correct the way things have gone here tonight.
November 1st, 2019. It's documented.
I had a good time out there, man.
I had no idea what was happening, so it was really just natural reaction to everything. It was awesome, dude. That's a real bucket list thing. Game day bucket list. This is like complete bucket list. 2 in 1 week. Oh yeah. With a horseshoe shoved up my ass and a horseshoe owner lending us a plane. Are you kidding me, dude? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Canadian friend who has been riding an absolute heater in Bundesliga gambling. There's a massive game today to give us a lock. Our friend from Canada, Gumpy.
Hey pal, I'm locked in Canada, so here's some of my locks.
Gotta go back to the beginning. We made him an intro and everything. Jay.
To be honest with you, I don't know where the sound went.
Oh, no. Zito made an entire intro for you, Gumpy. I'm excited to hear your locks. You made us a lot of money here in the last couple weeks with your Bundesliga bets. You might be the greatest German soccer league bettor in the history. Let's ride your heater, pal. Your beard looks absolutely ridiculous at this point.
We got a big one today, boys. This is the German Classico. Bayern at Dortmund. Bayern has a 4-point lead on Dortmund. That being said, Bayern doesn't need to win this game. I like Dortmund plus a goal to cover here at home against Bayern Munich.
Okay, Dortmund at home +1 at home against Bayern München. Bayern München! I've been
Another dog, Freiburg +0.5 at Frankfurt. Freiburg 16-3 against the spread as dogs. Frankfurt is 2-9-1 against the spread as favorites.
Tim McAfee and I enjoyed the hell out of some brats, pretzels, and hot dogs in Frankfurt, Germany one day. Just let it be known, but I'll bet the hell against them because I think they were rude. Freiburg +0.5, Dortmund +1. What else do we got, Gumpy? Anything else?
The final 2 games, we're laying the chalk, Pat.
Okay.
Mönchengladbach money line over Werder Bremen. They're 12-3-3 straight up as favorites.
Jeez.
And Leverkusen over Wolfsburg. Leverkusen is absolutely steamrolling teams coming out of this layoff.
All right, so we got Leverkusen, Dortmund, and Freiburg. Is that accurate, Gumpy?
You got it, pal.
What's your record right now in this gambling over there?
9-6 plus 6.25 units.
Is that good?
Oh, yeah.
Is that good, he says? How's that beard?
Is that good?
How's that beard?
Terrible. Barbershops are opening up. We're going to take care of it this week.
Attaboy. Well, we'll talk to you tomorrow, see how your bets are doing. Thanks for giving these locks out at FanDuel. Mönchengladbach, Leverkusen, Dortmund, and Freiburg is who Gumpy thinks is good. He's been on a real heater. Let's all get rich with our Canadian friend Gumpy.
Hey, I'm locked in Canada, so here's some of my locks.
You got it, Gump. We appreciate you. Another intro and an outro. Cheers, Gumpy. Good guy there, Gump.
I don't know what happened to the audio there. It was working earlier when I put on the TV.
Zito was so proud, by the way, of this intro.
Great.
Zito's been putting in work on these graphics and things of that nature. Every once in a while, you're just going to forget to hit the music sound. I thought it was Jay's fault, by the way. Jay got blamed there for no reason. Well, mostly because Jay hits the button that mutes people and unmutes people. That's a tough gig, by the way. Jay's got to hit things like whack-a-mole, basically, to keep people doing things.
Billy Tube just said the audio worked in the stream.
Interesting.
Oh, jeez. I don't know what I'm doing.
No.
Someone mixed the wires again. It was probably me.
Jeez.
The mainframe's done.
Let's get to Kyle in Massachusetts. What's going on, Kyle?
Hey, Pat, how you doing?
Not too shabby. Only got a couple minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
All right, well, one thing I just want to say thank you to everyone on this show. I mean, it's really made quarantine a lot easier for me.
Hey, look at us!
Hey. I couldn't play my senior year lacrosse, but
we appreciate you too, Kyle.
AJ Hawk especially, because that McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk really keeps me going.
Bingo. You guys
Anyway,
stink.
I just want to know what your opinion is in the NBA coming back. You think it's going to be successful?
Thank you, Kyle, for asking. We should talk about that, actually. What do we got, 2 minutes? So the NBA, Brian Windhorst, who is LeBron's guy for ESPN, was on Get Up yesterday and said that the NBA, the players have been very vocal about coming back and playing. The National Basketball
Association
president came out and said that the players want to play bad. They just need some sort of road or trail or blueprint on how this is going to happen. So Windhorst said yesterday that there is going to potentially be a tournament seeded 1 through 16 with no conferences, which could end up with the Lakers taking on the Clippers in the finals, which I assume a lot of people would want to happen around the NBA, especially in Los Angeles. But if you look at how this would be seeded, if this was to be how they would do it, instead of finishing the regular season, which I guess was a conversation which never made sense to me, they would do the NBA playoffs 1 through 16. The Milwaukee Bucks seem to have a cakewalk into the finals, which, by the way, that's why you become the number 1 seeded team overall. The one that might really have some troubles, and now granted, the Timberwolves, the Celtics, the Sixers, all good teams. The Clippers, let's assume that Kawhi is in the best shape of his life, is going to have a good run down there too. And then in the lower right corner, look for the Pacers to get loose out there. But the Lakers have no cakewalk in this thing. LeBron, who has been an advocate for this coming back, he knows that he and Anthony Davis were getting hot before the quarantine started. I assume he's been working out in his gym. He's been working out at the LA Gear Guys gym potentially. The Lakers have a tough road. The Nets. Now, will Kevin Durant come back and play? Will Kyrie Irving come back and play? Because they said they were done for the season, but if they hear it's only a 16-team tournament and it's only a couple games, will they come back and do it? I would hope that they do, because this will be something we'll talk about forever. Lakers got to get through that. Then they have the Houston Rockets on the other side of that. I mean, that is murderer's row for the Lakers to get through here. It seems as if they would be set up in the worst spot, and that's LeBron's guy who's saying this is how it would be set up in Windhorst, but I like that the NBA is putting a trail together in Orlando. This is how it would happen if we were to do it.
Absolutely love this, especially because like the Bucks do have, like the Heat in the second round. The Heat are 2-0 against the Bucks this year. They gave Giannis problems early in the year, but if this is the way, this is what everyone wants to see. Like,
and it's going to happen down in Orlando. Mark Cuban broke that news basically on our show, saying why wouldn't we do it in Orlando? Disney is our biggest partners. ESPN, ABC. We would do it down in Orlando. This would be awesome to watch. This would be amazing to watch. I think this is what everybody wants. Now they have a roadmap. How do we do it? This is how we would do it. The players are in. Will the league be in? Will Orlando be in? The governor will be in down there. And I, as a fan, will be all in on this as well. They need a couple weeks to get back in shape. They're thinking mid-July this would be able to kick off. I'm kind of excited to maybe move that up to early July. Let's try to get this done as fast as possible for shows that have nothing to talk about. But boy, this is a tough road for LeBron, and this would be so much fun to watch. Not a bad little Thursday or Tuesday here. Not a bad little Tuesday. Broke some NXT wrestling news. We judged some judging computers. We talked to Michael Lombardi about being a GM in the NFL. I mean, not a bad day today.
Gumpy with some locks there at the end.
Oh, yeah. By the way, if you just joined on FanDuel, go bet Leverkusen, Dortmund, Freiburg, and Manchester.
Got him.
That's 4 bets that are going to make money this afternoon. From all of us to all of you, we'll see you at 1 o'clock for McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. You're the absolute greatest on earth. You could watch and listen to other things, and you don't. You're the best for that. Thank you.